and welcome to the Lair of the Film Exorcist. Now tell me, who's ready for war? Because tonight, we will be taking a look at 1917, a British epic war film based on the story of two young British soldiers as they go on a mission to deliver a message that could call off a doomed attack on the German forces at Hindenburg Line. Now on to my opinion. The story is based in part on an account told to director Sam Mendes by his paternal grandfather, Lance Corporal Alfred Mendes, about a real event that happened during the First World War. Now this movie also went on to win 3 Academy Awards, including one for Best Visual Effects and another for Best Sound Mixing, which isn't very surprising since that is a requirement for your usual war film. So let's see if this movie lives up to the standards that so many others have laid before it, especially Private Ryan. Now I love how this movie takes place in one of the least researched wars to happen to the entire world, because this is the war that started trench and tank warfare, which changed the way we fight our wars today. Sadly, we don't get to see any tanks during this movie, but during the beginning, we do get to see what it's like to live inside a trench for months, and we also get to see what the battlefields would look like after a large battle. From the huge craters left by artillery to the fields and fields of barbed wire, we also get to see our only dogfight in the movie, which sadly only lasts a few seconds, and it's almost too far to see. Now I can see why this movie won the award for Best Visual Effects due to the scene involving the plane crash, which resulted in the destructions of a barn, and actually watching our two soldiers get chased down by the plane reminds me of the plane scene from North by Northwest, which sadly I haven't seen the movie, but that's the only scene anyone would remember. Now I also really love the costume designs, because they made them look so realistic that I would have mistaken anyone wearing one for an actual British soldier. And the props were gorgeously made, especially the Lee Enfield class rifles that our main characters carry around during most of the movie. Now, despite what most critics say, there could have been Indian and black soldiers in the Western Front, because during World War I, there were regiments made up of Indian and black soldiers in the West during this time. Also, most of the information given during the movie is pretty accurate, especially when they mention how many soldiers were going to attack the Hindenburg Line, which was sadly only 16,000, which I can see why it would have failed with that number. Now for the story, which I have to say I did enjoy a lot. One of the scenes that affected me the most was the scene in the burning town, because just watching those buildings go up in flames just made me feel for all those people who lost their homes during the First World War, and all those people that lost their lives. And just seeing all the destruction that both sides created, it hurts, because this is what we had to do to establish ourselves in this terrible world and to stop multiple conflicts. I also felt tension while I watched our two main characters as they walked through the fields of barbed wire and the deep trenches, because I was just waiting for so long for the gunfire and bombs to go off, but they never came. And I was amazed when I saw all the detail that the crew put into the German bunker that our main characters sneak into. From the bunker beds that litter the room to the small food storage, it's just so amazing and so cool. Now since this is in fact a war movie, you know that there will be casualties, and sadly, this befalls one of our two main characters, who dies trying to save someone out of the kindness of his heart, which sadly doesn't always go well during a war, especially when it's with the enemy. Now, throughout this movie, you feel for our final main character as he goes through his journey to stop the attack, and as he completes his mission, you feel the same relief and sorrow as he does because he has been through so much. And no truer words have been spoken than the ones spoken by Benedict Cumberbatch's Colonel Mackenzie. There is only one way this war ends: last man standing. Now my only problem with this movie is that we barely get to see the soldiers fight. And this is because our main character is always running from gunfire instead of returning it, which I would have liked to see him kill more than just 2 soldiers. But I guess I can live without another Saving Private Ryan scene. Now the fun part is that I had no idea that the day portrayed in the trenches was actually the day that the Americans joined the war against Germany, which was April 6, 1917, which we sadly missed while filming this episode. And finally, I really like the amazing score of this movie, which constantly put me on the edge of my seat with its heavy tones that express the harsh tones of war, and it basically controls your emotions throughout the entire movie, which, hey, that's what a score is supposed to do, so it did its job. So yes, I did really enjoy this film, and I feel it did earn all the awards that it got, and all the nominations. I just wish it won more. And again, and I do plan on watching it again and again and again, because it explores one of the least researched wars, and it throws away the usual romance that you would see in other war movies like Midway and Pearl Harbor. So with that, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 for the amazing story that puts you in the shoes of our main character, and the amazing score, but also the lack of fighting in this movie, which really hampered my joy. So please go take the time to watch this masterpiece of a movie, especially if you're a war buff just like me. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and be careful on the battlefield, cadets, because this might just be your last battle. A tan hut, and good night.